applying that force as a result of it getting energy. And so generating the force and producing the energy, then the movement can take place at that particular joint. So a muscle cell, for example, don't carry oxygen around the human body. Your red blood cell is what pick up and transport oxygen around the human body. Your nerve cell, for example, your nerve cell, it is responsible for transporting messages around the human body, linking the different body parts. So that is the nerve cell right there. So the only function of the nerve cell is to, of course, allow the different body parts to communicate. For example, the brain need to communicate with your legs. The brain need to communicate with your fingers. It is your nerve cell that will carry that information. As for other cells, for example, your white blood cell, your white blood cell is a part of a system that is called your immune system. So the white blood cell help your body to fight against disease-causing organism. For example, a virus, a bacteria. So that is why we looked at a term that is known as cell specialization. What we mean by cell specialization is that of all the different types of cells in the human body, all these types of cells have their different functions. They have their specialized function. So that's why we looked at something that is called specialized cells. And the specialized cells in the human body, for example, are your nerve cell. So if I should ask you to give me one specialized cell found in the human body, then you should tell me that the nerve cell is one of it. And on the slide you will see the function of the nerve cell. A nerve cell is like a receiver. It is like a transmitter and a transmission line with the task of passing a signal. So receiver, transmitter, and transmission line, all of those actually talking about the movement of it. Yes? Right, so in terms of the trembling movement that you're seeing now, the brain normally control the movement of the entire body. So because he's getting old, the nerve cell cannot carry the information fast enough so that his muscles contraction or movement can control. So the older you get, the less. Yes, Mackenzie? Or, all right. Now, that is whenever the nervous system basically almost stop work. You realize that then forgetful, then now remember things. That is because the human brain, there's a part of the human brain that is like a memory chip. When you have a memory chip in the phone and it full and it damage, then the information. Right, because in terms of them recalling what they would have done before within the same day or a few days or a few hours before, their brain is not functioning as how it's supposed to function in terms of storing the information or storing memories. So as you get older in terms of life, once you reach adulthood, then all the functions in the human body, they actually start to decrease in terms of their ability or their capability. So that means that they are not as efficient as they would have been at a younger age. So as you progress, once you reach adulthood, then the human body kind of going downhill in terms of all the different functions. So for question purpose, for tests or quiz, if I should ask you to give me or tell me the function for the nerve cell or the special function for the nerve cell, once you tell me that it is responsible for sending messages around the body or allowing the different body parts to communicate, then that would be acceptable in terms of a possible answer. conducts nerve impulses. Now conducts mean move. That's what conducts mean in this situation. Nerve impulses mean message. So basically what they are saying is that the nerve cell is what move information or move messages between body parts in the human body. A next specialized cell in the human body, it is called the epithelial cell. Now this epithelial cell is normally located at the inside section of the human body. For example, the structure of the heart, the lungs, all of those internal organs. It is your epithelial cell that normally lines them, mean that these cells normally cover these body parts. That is why you see the first pointer saying line the cavities and surfaces of structures in the body. So epithelial cell, basically they are saying that you will not see it on the external surface of the human body. It is mostly in the inner section of the human body, lining those important organs in terms of protecting them. An next specialized cell in the human body is the sperm cell, and this cell, you will only find this cell in male. So that simply means that a female body will not have a sperm cell, but a female body will have an egg cell. So the main function for the sperm cell is to fertilize egg, and that egg. Right. So during sexual intercourse now, the male would ejaculate, and what comes out of the male penis would be the sperm. So the sperm would now swim. Right. So when if right. So the sperm and the egg, there's a component of the sperm and the egg that is called the nucleus. So those are what normally join together, and then that will actually call, of course, a fertilized egg, and that is what develop into the baby. So the egg cell, as I said, it will only be found in female. So male will not have any egg cell. But of course, if I ask you to give me a specialized cell found in human or animal, then I can say egg or I can say sperm. But if I ask you to give me a specialized cell that is found in female but not in male, then you would tell me the egg. Alright, next specialized cell is the red blood cell. And red blood cell, its main function is to pick up and transport oxygen around the human body. Because when you breathe in, your respiratory system actually take in oxygen. Now this oxygen need to go to different body parts. So the only way this oxygen can reach the different body parts is by your red blood cell moving it around, picking up and transporting or taking the oxygen to the different body parts. So the specialized function for red blood cell is to pick up and transport oxygen. Now the second pointer, let's say for example, I ask you which part of the red blood cell transport oxygen. That is when you will tell me that it is the hemoglobin. So just like a motor vehicle, we know that a motor car have different parts. But I can ask you which part of the car rotate and allow the car to move from point A to point B. I'm sure that you're going to say that it is the wheels, which that is correct. So the wheel rotate to move the car from point A to point B. So in comparing that with what we are discussing now, the red blood cell is what pick up and transport oxygen. But if I should ask you which part of the red blood cell, then that is when you would tell me the hemoglobin. So the hemoglobin is a part of the red blood cell that carries oxygen around the human body. So in terms of specialized cells, again we call them specialized cells because they have specific, or they have a specialized function. That is why we're looking at this concept that is called specialized cells. So specialized
Can
mean
you pronounce the word again?
which one? Hemoglobin, that the H word. So HAEAMO. So hemoglobin. So you break it up HAE, then you pronounce it MO, then you pronounce the GLO and BIN. So hemoglobin. Right, so hemoglobin is the pronunciation for it. Right, so the hemoglobin is that part of the red blood cell that pick up and transport the oxygen. The next specialized cell is what is known as white blood cell. Then we have two types of white blood cell. As for red blood cell, for example, we only have one type of red blood cell. But as for the white one, yes, yes, Anderson.
What is the difference between red blood cell and white blood cell?
All right, the difference is their function, their role, meaning that they do two different things. The red blood cell pick up and transport oxygen. That is the function of the red blood cell. While your white blood cells actually protect the human body. That means that it get rid of organisms that will cause harm to you. For example, virus, for example, bacteria. So let's say, for example, you catch the flu virus, which is caused by influenza. So influenza is the virus that causes flu. It is your white blood cell that will actually protect you by trying to get rid of the influenza, which is the flu virus. If you eat something and the food spoil, for example, and your belly start to hurt you, because you consume some bacteria in that spoiled food. Right, so it is yes, so it is the white blood cell that will try to get rid of those bacteria. So your white blood cell protect you by getting rid of disease causing organisms, which include virus and bacteria and fungus, while your red blood cell pick up and transport oxygen. So the difference is that red blood cell pick up and transport oxygen, while the white blood cells actually fight against disease causing organisms. So disease causing organisms are normally living things that cause disease, which of course include bacteria, virus, and fungus. So the white blood cell, instead of saying white blood cell, some textbook will call it leukocytes. So that's just another term for white blood cell. The second point and now actually start to go into the different parts that make up the white blood cell, where they are saying that white blood cell contain a nucleus. So it means it have a nucleus. Now the third point now is definitely telling you the function. So white blood cell destroys bacteria. So that is the function, that is the specialized function for white blood cell. They destroy bacteria. And of course we have two types, phagocytes and lymphocytes. Those are the two types of white blood cells. So you must know that we actually have two types of white blood cell. As for the phagocytes, it actually engulfs microorganisms in a process called phagocytosis. Now the word engulf means taking. So looking at the diagram there, go back. Right, so this is the white blood cell that is called a phagocyte. If you look at this section there, it have something that actually look like a mouth. Persons, you see in the screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right, so if you look at the labeling, it's a bacteria being engulfed. So that simply means that the phagocyte is taking in the bacteria. So that is what the word engulf means. Engulf means taking. So that's how the phagocytes get rid of the bacteria. As for the lymphocytes now, on the other side, to the right of the screen. It also get rid of bacteria, but in a total different way. The last point is saying that lymphocytes produce antibodies, which is a chemical which kill microorganisms, which is the same thing as bacteria. So right away, you should be able to tell me the difference between phagocytes and lymphocytes. And again, in terms of the difference, the last two pointers on the screen is telling you the difference. I'm gonna go over it. The phagocytes actually get rid of the bacteria by engulfing them. That means that it actually take them in. While the lymphocytes actually produce a chemical that is called antibodies. So the antibody, yes, it up by 2 minutes. But I just ensuring that I get this point in terms of you being able to tell me the difference between phagocytes and lymphocytes, which I hope you can. Right. So you see the one session is so short. So next class we'll pick up. So for persons who never join the class, you can tell them that they can click on the link and watch it later on. All right. So students, thank you. I will mark the names based on those who said that they are present in the WhatsApp group. So that's it for today's class, students.
Bye, sir.
Yeah. Bye.